Hello, everyone. Another week of news to talk about, and there's a lot to talk about. You will excuse me if I speed through some of these stories because I don't want to take forever. But we're going to start with something that may not even be Transformer related, but it's exceptionally interesting. So we have this image coming from the, see, just to make it clear, this is the Bandai Spirits online web's Twitter account. And this is Bandai cross Takara Tomy, something called Dream Together. The translation of the tweet does mention that this is something of a dream project between the two, and that just raises literally hundreds of possibilities for exactly what is going on here. We do know that it is being announced and revealed on the 16th of this month. That's actually the same month as the Complete Style Gigantic line, which is supposed to be a complement to Complete Selection Modification for you Kamen Rider people out there. So Bandai's got a lot to drop in the middle of June. We have no confirmation that this is Transformer related, but it's just super exciting to see the two rival toy companies in Japan collaborating on something. So fingers crossed. I can only imagine Transformers is going to be involved. And yeah, there's going to be something really, really cool coming up. Keep your eye out. We'll speculate on that later. But for now, let's go to actual Transformers stuff because we got plenty to talk about. Speaking of things that we can speculate on wildly, we have a new listing which is supposedly going to be the next Transformers collaborative listing called Project Yellow. It is in the Target computers, complete with a DPCI number, and the MSRP is going to be $44.99. So, from previous collaborative figures, we know that something like Gigawatt can be a $20 deluxe jumped to a $29.99 deluxe because of the extra parts and the licensing involved. So at $44.99, this feels like an upscaled Voyager or possibly a 2-pack of deluxes if this is a more minor repaint. Hard to really say. The term Project Yellow really does not lend itself to that much. We could be talking about, a transforming Big Bird, a transforming we could be talking about it. We could be talking about like a transforming minion. Like if I'm thinking like this, what about a Simpsons car? Because Project Yellow could be the color of the Simpsons characters. It could be Homer's like pink car actually transforming. That would actually be kind of funny. So yeah, there's plenty of different directions that you could take this one. I'm expecting just a really lavish Voyager class toy at that price point. We can speculate on that a little bit later, but for now, it's interesting. Keep an eye on it. We also have DCPIs for what is, they're all code names, so we have no idea what they are, but it seems to indicate that it's going to be Earthspark based. So keep an eye on that. We got more coming up. All right, so for things that we actually have photos of, or renders in this case, Super 7 showed off Wave 4 of their Ultimates line, and it's a really safe wave. It's also a budget-conscious wave. This feels like filler more than anything. So it contains 3 figures, of which only one is a new mold. We have here, obviously, we have Fallen Optimus Prime, and yeah, it's the first wave Optimus Prime with a new head and a new torso to reflect the battle damage from the final battle of Autobot City. And it's really unimpressive, uninspiring even. I don't really like dead Optimus Prime decos because the only thing you can really do with them is lay him on his back, and that's literally the only thing he needs to do. He shouldn't be up posing and aiming his rifle. He should not be making gestures with his hands. He's dead. He should not be moving. He's not even a zombie. That's a different episode. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this. It feels like an easy wave, but that's not going to be the easiest one in the wave. The only new mold in this wave is going to be Soundwave. Now, if we look at his little splash image, comes with 2 additional heads, a toy accurate, and a Marvel comic accurate, or at least what he appeared as in some scenes of the Marvel comics with an exposed mouth. That head alone really makes me wish this was in Marvel Comics colors. Because, like Super 7's been doing weird things like that. They did Action Master Bombshell and Banzaitron. They go for some really weird character choices sometimes. They did Grimlock as a T-Rex instead of the robot mode. They do weird things. So I'm actually surprised, like, this Soundwave is just a straight-up Soundwave. Gets the rifle. Gets an empty Energon Cube, interestingly enough. A laser beak, which I don't believe there's any shot of this door opening up, so I don't think it even stores in there. So I think it's just an accessory. The little mini recorder mode, that's probably my favorite little thing. So that'll incorporate well with your other figures. Yeah, he looks really, really nice. Yeah, and yeah, it's another nice looking Soundwave. So if you got the red version, you would keep in mind that this is the red figure is about 5 inches. These are 7-inch. They are much bulkier, much more solid. So keep that in mind. They are very different figures, even though your needs may have already been met. Still, it looks fine. It looks nice. And then we have Starscream, who should have been in Wave 1, but they decided to do Ghost Starscream instead, which was highly confusing. But now we have a proper Starscream. It's just a redeco of that figure with some swapped accessories. A rifle, that's an obscurity. The heads, we have 2 different expressions, as well as a toy accurate head, which is hilarious. And then, yeah, just your normal set of accessories. Megatron, hands, Energon Cube. I'm actually really disappointed. Like I said, it's a very boring, safe wave of toys. Just repaints and one guaranteed banger. Nothing weird. It's all primary cast. It's actually, like, very uninspiring. So hopefully this is just a gap filler, and Wave 5, if Ultimates continues, is just something, like, ridiculous. Emirate Zarak, like just normal Zarak. Just normal, how about that? Just normal Zarak, not Black Zarak, not just the normal Headmaster. There's the level of obscurity and randomness that I'm looking for out of these. All right. We got a shot of the Rise of the Beast Bumblebee robot mode from a little bit of promotional imagery. With a straight up, just like, hey, that's just straight up Optimus Primal. That's just his old box art, just randomly behind. So from what we've gathered, yeah, he's back to being a Camaro, just like at the end of the Bumblebee movie. I really hate that we're stuck in Camaro world, but here we are. But that said, it is I was going to say very different. No, it's not that different, but there's definitely some distinct differences from the original Bumblebee designs that we saw in the 07 movie. For instance, the paneling looks a lot more solid, not nearly as many gaps, especially here in the leg. So a lot of that yellow is just sticking out a lot more. Whole overall just looks like a more solid robot. The fins on the arms and the black stripes, that's new. It used to be those like rings coming off of his arms for no real reason. This feels like it actually might have been part of a car at some point. And little other changes. The wheels on his back are far more exposed than they normally are. The wheels are not buried in his legs, they're on the side. Little things like that. And I also take note that the face is a lot more solid with a lot more yellow in it than past movie Bumblebees. So we're getting a kind of a hybrid between what he looked like in the 07 movie and what he looked like in his solo movie. And I don't know, that's a little bit closer to what they probably should have been designed at from the beginning. But no, we'll see how it works in motion. This is just one promo shot. And as we know, these things tend to change on a whim. So we might not even be looking at a correct Bumblebee here. This might just be something early, conceptual, and the real one is yet to come. So we will see. Let's get to actual toy reveals. First off, someone got their hands on a Bumblebee movie Thundercracker, which is just a repaint of Starscream. Nothing to really say about this one. It's the Starscream figure, but is now in gray and blue. It's just pretty standard Seeker stuff. That leaves Skywarp to do next, and that really has me a little bit on edge, if only because Skywarp tends to get the short end of these things. Someone reminded me that the Fall of Cybertron Skywarp, or that one actually had some pretty bad, like for some reason in Japan was like almost all purple and not Skywarp at all looking. And Skywarp just seems to get the short end of the stick a lot. In Armada, he was the oddball out from that team. The Combiner War Leader class ones, he had a lot more purple in the chest in spots where like it shouldn't have been purple. Made him stand out again. And I get the feeling after the backlash about the null rays in the core class, I get the feeling he's going to be the odd man out again on those. I kind of feel like when Thundercracker comes, he's actually going to have his guns. So I'm fingers crossed that the Skywarp that comes out of this mold is actually matching the others, because it seems like a 50-50 ratio whether or not they get that right. So, well, I will see. We will see. Speaking of the core class, someone got their hands on the core class Shockwave, the Legacy core class, not the Studio Series one. Now, someone commented the last time we talked about this figure and said, "Isn't it just a repaint of the Combiner War one?" No, not in the least. It is sharing the leg engineering in order to get the front end of his spaceship mode transformed. But that has literally happened to hundreds of Transformers. They borrow transformation elements from their previous figures for their new ones. That doesn't make them retools. That doesn't make them repaints. This is 100% new molding on this figure. The upper half actually transforms pretty simply. You can tell that these engines, as well as this panel on the back, is all just one panel that flips over and forms a little folded up backpack. You can see his gun and his actual hand just sticking out the back here. This is going to be a pretty simple toy. But at core class, that's not too unexpected. There is a cheeky little handle, however, hidden on this figure, so it can actually be wielded as one gigantic weapon. That's kind of hilarious. Good on you, Hasbro. Nice to know we can still use our submarines as they were intended. But yeah, core class on the way. Looks fine. Also on the way, we have 86 Arcee. Someone was nice enough to do lots of comparison shots. And yeah, this is going to be an interesting release. You can see, like, when you put her next to Earthrise here on the far left, you can definitely tell why they wanted to go back to the Thrilling 30 mold. She wears, she's doing the same sin of the shell is the entirety of her car, but she's actually wearing it a lot better. And it's a far less of a visual eyesore, in my opinion. It also helps. I even completely forget that the kibble on Earthrise doesn't even have her traditional shapes behind her back, but the Thrilling 30 does. And to see this, the Takara one here is the second. The third one here is the Studio Series. I'm looking at this, and now I'm starting to see what they did change. I can see very slight changes to the head and the torso, just mostly proportional things. They don't look that different at all, but at the very least, I can see where the 86 one's head is far closer to her chest, so it doesn't have a long neck thing going. Completely different hips. This one's not nearly as hippie, if that makes sense. Angle tilts have been added. Hands have been remolded, so those probably are not going to be nearly as fragile. The big thing for me is the midsection, which is now squared off and angled, which is accurate to her animation model. It is very, very rare when they make G1 Arcee accurate to her animation model and don't just smooth her out for the sake of being the female. Even the Masterpiece got that wrong. So this is, strangely enough, the most accurate Arcee we've gotten, even above the MP. Yeah, she's looking at least better than the rest in this lineup. Outside of the Cyberverse, who, unfortunately is suffering from some yellowing there. Strangely enough, the tan and pink, I don't think actually looks bad, but it's a terrible thing. Check your figures with white plastic. Some of them have been yellowing very, very quickly lately. All right. So Takara showed the torso mode for Ryden. So Yukikaze, the newest release, actually does come with the head of Ryden. So they went ahead and showed off the completed torso. They're still not showing anything combined, and I'm still on record, and I'll keep saying it. It is a mistake when you're asking collectors to drop $1,000 on a set of toys without showing them what they're getting. But here we go. We have at least some impressions of what Raiden is going to look like. We've gotten the individual components in their combined modes, so I'm sure people are already photoshopping them together in this hypothetical, this is kind of what it's going to look like thing. Really just waiting on Takara to just release number 4, and hopefully it's the midsection so we can start seeing what they're going to look like all together. Well, so nothing really to say about that. It's a torso. Here's another reveal. This one, IDW Blur, of all things. This one came from the Velocitron lineup. There's one listing in there that mentioned Blur, and I was just kind of looking, is it just going to be a re-release? Are they going to like make it toy accurate colors instead of cartoon accurate? No. IDW returns for the Velocitron lineup, and you know what? It looks really, really good. The most notable remolding is in the vehicle mode, where you can see the front end has been completely redone. We've got exposed wheels and a very different nose cone. I really like how this works. By the way, the wheels are completely non-functional. It's just for show. They don't even touch the ground. But overall, I do think it's an interesting, different take on Blur. A little bit forceful trying to get the IDW into a very G1 Blur, but I'm not against it. It definitely gives them a chance to make a different take on that mold. As you can see, the blue palette is very different between the two. If we get back to his robot, he looks really, really good, and the head sculpt is very much IDW. A little bit difference here and there, and they didn't just leave it at just the head. You can see the shoulders have also been redone. So, let's see if we've got. No, I know there's a comparison shot in here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. So you can see, I mean, it's almost a round peg square hole situation, but they gave it a good shot. And overall, like, I definitely think I think it's an interesting way of doing this. You know. I think it really fits the legacy theme that Velocitron kind of extends to, where like even IDW is getting a little bit of love in this like expanded universe toy line that we've got going on. So I'm not sure if I here's the thing, I like it, but I don't know if I want it. I like what they're going for here. It's a very characterful sculpt, but I don't know if it's something I'm going to drop money for. It's not a bad mold. It's just going to be like very repetitive on my shelves. So jury's out. Jury's out on that one for me. We got another mask. Sorry for those who weren't expecting that. I realized that was a little bit jump scare. So we knew that there were 2 masks that were produced, one for Primal and one for Bumblebee. And we got Bumblebees. So again, credit. It's a fully functional mask. I mean, it looks like the modified face that we just saw in the promotional art. And yeah. Again, it does transform, and it's a completely different transformation from Primal. You don't have to shove Primal's feet in your mouth in this mask. You don't have to on the other one. That's a mistransformation. You can if you want to. You know, if that's what you're into, I won't judge you for it. I still wonder how this thing actually how does it handle the tension of the elastic strap? How does it handle that tension without like falling apart and collapsing on your kid's face? Also, this really does not look comfortable at all. You got like one pad for the nose and that's it. Like nothing to like support on the forehead at all. We don't have this one transformed yet. I will expect that to probably pop up. Well, I'm recording this the day before. I'm recording this Sunday night. I'm expecting by the time I post this, there's probably going to be some robot mode picture of this. We can see the instruction manual, which does have a shot of the robot mode. There's some liberties taken with the Bumblebee design overall, but it overall works, so not too bad. Again, this is just an interesting way of doing a role-play mask, so it's not just like a hollowed-out piece of plastic that a kid's going to get bored with inside of a week. No, it's actually going to turn into a viable Bumblebee action figure, which a kid is going to get bored of in 2 weeks. So, hey, we're doing better. We have another random look. Master Dominus, which, yeah, interesting name. Yeah, I still really like this. I still really like it. Once again, I neglected to get a comparison shot to see just how much of this is remolded. I still feel like the legs are longer than they were from Ractonite. But what got me on this is like they painted the inside of the ribcage red, so it looks like there's still like meat and organs in there. It's super creepy, and I don't think I'm against it, honestly. So yeah, he's still looking really, really good. Color combination is fantastic. Really like the new head and all the new sculpting going on. Yeah, it's really, really good. Yeah, I'm absolutely loving this one. Yeah, nothing really more to say. It's a really cool retool with a really, really good color scheme. I'm not sure how much I'm actually gonna like get play value out of this. I feel like I've just done everything I can with Fossilizer at this point. Yeah, so let's hope it turns out well. Hope it turns out well and everything holds together. All right, in the weird category. So these are Monster Treads, which now feature Transformer characters in bizarre ways. So here's Prime, a super giant Prime head with eyes that have been like super stretched out. He looks like, you know, like when like some of the characters in a movie are going through like warp speed for the first time, their face gets all stretched out. That's what I'm seeing out of this Prime. Like space is contorting behind him and trying to drag him into the black hole. What I'm also seeing is that his legs, if you know how Prime traditionally transforms, that's the top of his legs there. That's the front of his legs and what would be his feet. So he's had to like violently twist his body around in order to like face forward to actually apparently drive this contraption. The light up wheels, that's something that these kind of toys did not have when I was a kid. And then the Bumblebee just looks like the angriest Bumblebee I've ever seen in my life. But at least he doesn't look like he's as contorted as Optimus is. He just kind of looks like it looks like he's one with the machine is what he looks like. So yeah, a really random set. It's a really random concept, but yeah, it's more oddball Transformer stuff for those who collect it. And we're going to wrap up with actually, as I just realized, I doubled up on my listings. So Project Yellow was the last thing I was going to talk about. We're going to save that. We might speculate on this a little bit later, because there's some wild directions that this could go in. But yeah, that's going to be my news roundup. Yeah, we've got a lot of reveals and some fascinating things to speculate on. Let me know in the comments below. This is going to get revealed in a few days, so you only have like a little bit to like let your wild theories flow. And yeah, let me know in the comments what you're thinking. So thank you once again for I said I was going to try to be fast. Yeah, this is actually a pretty long news roundup. Thank you for watching all the way through, and I will potentially see you next week, because it seems like news just keeps coming in. So, talk to you then. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.